All right, welcome to Call of the Pen, episode 14. We have a special guest today. We have a three-time Cy Young Award winner and World Series champion, Max Scherzer. And my first question for Max is, do you still play poker with mirrored sunglasses on the plane?
Yes, I still play cards on the plane. Sometimes I put them on, sometimes I don't. It's not really for, just to have fun.
I think I waited like a month to tell you. Like, Max, you're playing with mirrored glasses.
Oh, so you ruined it for everyone else, Ken. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, if he was going to donate, you know what I mean? Might as well like play it off for a little bit.
I mean, he was donating because mirrored glasses.
I doubt the guys are, that can really look through the mirrored glasses and see the cards.
He was like, "Why didn't you tell me that before?" I was like, "I don't know. It was entertaining."
Leave it the salt away. Leave it for salt to say, something 5 years later.
Hey, I was trying to get as much as I could out of it.
Hey, speaking of the gambling stuff, be careful with Dane Dunning on your team. Young guy. If you go golfing with him,
okay,
he can play a little bit. Don't let him sandbag you.
Okay. All right. Good note.
Good.
All right.
On the same subject, you're all settled in. You're good to go over there. How do you feel about the team right now?
Yeah, getting there, getting settled in. Expand on what Salt's saying. Like, all right, start. They don't play poker on the plane here. They play cash games. So it's a little different. Good gets me back to my Detroit days when we played cash games. So yeah, I've been playing poker for the past like 8-9 years. So
it's killing you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I love the cash games, and that's just part of the gig.
It's Texas. I figured everyone would be playing poker.
Yeah, I know. What's going on with that?
Yeah. So, no, getting used to the team, getting used to all the personalities over here. Get back with Mad Dog.
Yeah, your buddy.
That's right.
Yeah, good old Mad Dog. Get back with him, and get Boach, get to see him, go over some good old stories with him, and then it's the rest of the staff here. Now it feels like there's so many coaches and analytic people. There's just such a layer to everything that goes on. So yeah, trying to get with the program and see how Texas thinks.
Steve, you talked before how you want to have a question about Max with the analytics and stuff.
Yeah, I was literally just going to say, are you more old school, or you kind of combine the two nowadays? Like, I know when you were coming up, analytics was just not a thing at all. Or for us even. I mean, you played longer than we have, but do you use analytics at all, or are you just straight old school feel, just bulldog mentality? What is it?
No, it's both. It's a blend of both. I came up, I was probably one of the first guys to really start diving into analytics and really start looking at the kind of derivatives and all the sabermetrics. That's what they used to call them, sabermetrics. And try to implement what that's saying and how you would, take that into your game and have that be a layer. As we've gotten more and more analytics, it's actually making me more and more kind of reject them and actually get back to more of the human side. There's definitely a blend to this. Like the analytics are important. They definitely tell a story, but they don't tell the whole story. And I feel like the whole from the game is that, everybody's trying to get to, the next analytic, the next number, the next spin rate, the next way to describe pitching or hitting. And they're forgetting about just baseball pitching. Like that's location. Like you got to locate the baseball, and people are more worried about, how their fastball spins versus their location. So, that's where I take a combination of both. I'm definitely aware of everything that's going on with the game, but I definitely take my location seriously.
That's great. I mean, it's pretty evident. I got to sit around a couple games in the Cape League this year, and they were bragging about this one kid on the team. Like, he spins his curveball like 3,400 RPMs. He's like leading NCAA. Then you watch a video on him, and he's playing cricket. He's bouncing every single ball. The catcher's just straight wearing it. Can't locate it for a strike. I'm like, what good does that do? It's absolutely pointless if you can spin the ball and now put it over the plate when you need to.
Right. If you can't throw strikes, I mean, you're going to be out of the game. It's just simple as that. So it seems like this next generation pitcher is trying to figure out, reinvent the wheel and, only pitch because of their analytics, and that's the reason that makes them good. I just don't believe that. I'll die on that hill.
Yep.
Well, I fought that trend, so that's probably why I'm sitting on the couch now. So I should have bought into it, I guess. When Max said you need a slider, I should have really listened to him.
We got rid of the sinker ballers.
Yeah. Well, now it's 100 mile an hour sinker ballers. They love them, but you got to throw 100.
Gosh, I mean, some of these guys are even the guys. There's like 105 sinkers. The Durand guy from Minnesota, and
yeah,
you see Jordan Hicks doing it.
I don't even know how that's even possible. These guys are throwing that hard. It's
Did you see that dude? You see that dude for the Brewers throw? I think it was like 102 or something like that. And I mean, it fell off the table hard.
Yeah,
the Pirates.
I've seen that. I don't know his name, but he's like new to the league.
Absurd. And then the May dude for the Dodgers is just insane.
Mm-hmm. If I came in and pitched, they'd be so excited right now. They'd be like, thank God that 100 mile an hour guy's out there. Like, let's just face a bunch of change ups right here. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, but you can still throw 94 and located, and that's better than the 102 just chucked.
Yeah.
All right, you're going to be my agent in this offseason, so I'm going to come back. And you're going to tell them that 94 location still works. Well, shoot, we just watched Lorenzen throw a no-hitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for him.
I didn't get to see it.
What's it like? All right, you throwing a no-hitter.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? At what point of the game are you thinking about? I'm throwing a no-hitter. Like I got to stay locked in. Whatever. Like you're being a little more careful. Are you being more careful, or are you attacking more?
Well, so this is the kind of way I've always processed it. You know, you go the first time through the order. Okay, you got something going on. You go 2 times through the order, you know, without giving up a hit. Now you got a shot, because now you're kind of thinking, you know, you got to get 1 time through the order, and then there's going to be a few guys at the top, you know, for the 9th inning.
Right.
So you get 2 times through the order, you realize you got a shot. Now you're going to kind of maybe start pitching a little differently, but the 7th inning is a tricky one because you got to get through the 7th, because you start smelling it, that you know what's going on.
And it's the top of the order.
Navigate the 7th. And then once you get through the 7th and the 8th is like, okay, now you can kind of start, like, you really start kind of chasing it kind of physically. Like you're kind of amped up a little bit more in the 8th. And then the 9th, it's everything you got. Really? You know, everybody knows what's at stake. They're gunning for it. So you're tired. You're probably over 100 pitches now. So, yeah, you got, I mean, that's just everything you got.
I love that he was at 100 after 7, and he basically was like, "I ain't coming out." Yeah, he was at 100 at 7 through 7.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, obviously, what did he finish up at, like 125? Is that what?
Yeah.
I thought I read that. Yeah, that's crazy. He was able to finish the last 2 on 20, but yeah, in today's age, I mean, yeah. If you know the schedule, you know the off days. If I knew I was going to get extra time, like, yeah, if I was at 100 pitches after 7, yeah, you could keep going. You know, but it also is like, are you fighting? You know, if you came into starting fighting an injury, you know, do you keep going? You know, that's
is it worth it to you? Okay, starting pitcher, like you only have so many shots. You're through 7. I don't even care if I'm at 110. Like, is there one point where you're like, I don't care what I'm at, I'm going for it?
Yeah, if you definitely get through 8, then I'm definitely going for it. But I guess there are scenarios where you do come out.
Really?
But there's a couple scenarios where, hey, if you're feeling good, you keep going. Yeah, there's only really
if you're in your 20s, not 39-year-old Max. Okay, let's get like a 20-year-old Max.
39. There's a few more hiccups going on, a few more little training room bugs.
You didn't bring your pillow on. Your neck's not feeling great.
Yeah, there's some things that can go wrong fast now at 39. But
I will never forget when we're in San Diego and we're about to start the game, and Max gets scratched because he's got a stiff neck, and we have to bullpen the heck out of it. I'm like, Max, don't you ever like travel with your pillow? No, I don't travel with a pillow. I'm like, I think you should start traveling with a pillow. And he's like, I always have neck problems. Like, you must be like the craziest sleeper, probably like my son or something. But he did treat us to an absolute show dinner when we got to Miami, though. Like, that was show for picking him up by the bullpen picked him up. But like, do you still travel? Sick. I don't know. You had a neck problem earlier in the year. I warned you, man. Start traveling with a pillow.
No, so I have nice pillows at home, but usually we're at nice enough hotels that I never have to. It never really is a problem.
I hate hotel pillows.
It was just
I
that
hate
hotel
them.
pillows are the worst.
One day I got a crooked neck in San Diego trying like heck to figure out how I can make the start. Yeah, and I remember I tried to swing in the cage to see if I could even can I even do anything, and I was messed up. Couldn't do it.
And I just got traded there. Like, man, I thought this guy was the warrior. We can't even freaking start here. We got our long guy starting. Like, what the hell is wrong with Scherzer?
Kinsler doesn't forget those things. When his workload increases, you don't forget. That's all we hear about on here.
I know. The moment you can throw 220 innings with that one time in San Diego if you didn't make a start. But that's why I love it. You got to be held to a high standard. My gosh, one start, and that cost me a dinner. That was an expensive dinner too.
I do. Another funny one was it was like the 6th inning. We're playing Philly at home, and you had like 12 punchies, but I knew you're chasing 15 punchies. So they warmed me up at the end of the 6th. And I'm like, all right, so I got to be going to the 7th. No, Max has to go out there because he's chasing 15 punchies. And now I got to warm up again. And he doesn't get – then he gets his punchies, then he gets a couple hits, and then he goes out of the game. And then they bring me in with runners on. And I already warmed up for 30 minutes. And it was like, bro, like I know you want the 15 punchies, but like can we not warm me up and sit me down? So the next game he starts, he calls down himself, do you want to start this inning? I was like, yes, I do want to start this inning.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's talking about a good little story that we got going that because it's Kinsler always wanted to pitch a 7th. He was kind of the 7th inning guy. I'm like, look, I can go 7 innings, 105 pitches. I pitch a 7th. Like I am completely going into the start. If I'm at 90 pitches after 6 innings, I'm going to pitch a 7th. And so that happens to be, Kinsler's inning. So, we had your little, who should be pitching the 7th, him or me. And there's times, more often than not, there's times I should be pitching the 7th and sometimes I shouldn't. And so, what we was talking about there in Philly, I was probably good. I was feeling good, striking guys out. Like, I'm pitching the 7th. Like, yeah. I'm the right man for the job at the point. But then he has to go on this whole spiel in front of the clubhouse and talk about this, that. Poor me, I have to actually pitch a 7th. Maybe it was 1 out. I had to just get 1 out left.
Yeah, but I already warmed up 30 minutes before that because you had straight.
The whole Crimea River.
Wait,
so,
who was your 8th inning
guy?
Like,
okay, you had some valid points. Like, hey, careful how many times you warm me up, this and that. Like, okay. He wanted his own fresh inning, versus coming in. So, we had that in mind. Whether it was the next start, but I remember it was Arizona. I remember I was at Arizona. I had like 95.
You were through 7. I think you were through 7.
I was through the 6th inning. I was under 100 pitches, but maybe around 95. I remember saying I remember telling the pitching coach based on where how the game unfolded. I had about 10 pitches left, maybe 15, but I couldn't get out of the inning. If a runner got on, I wasn't gonna be able. I didn't want to pitch out of the stretch and dig myself out of the inning. So I knew I could start it, but I couldn't finish it. So we're kind of debating whether I should go out there, this or that. Talking over to the pitching coach. I finally said, screw this. I just picked up the phone and called down to the bullpen and like, Salt, I got 10 pitches left. I can go, I can start it, but I can't finish it. What do you want to do? Do you want the inning or not? And I just remember you were like, I want the inning.
Well,
like, good, then I'm done.
The phone rings, and I thought they were calling to say I'm in or sit down. And Henry hands me the phone. He goes, Max wants to talk to you. I'm like, what? You want to start the inning? Yes, I do want to start the inning.
Yep.
Who was it?
And I had a 1, 2, 3 inning. I remember coming. I'm like, see, that's how you should do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's really let the starting pitcher talk to the next reliever coming in. Like,
that's how it should be.
We can figure this out.
That's what I was trying to get at. Who was the 8th inning guy, anyways?
Ryan Matson, but he was down that day in Arizona. But we had
But the day you warmed up for 30 minutes, why didn't they just put you in for the 8th?
That would make too much common sense. Okay. We had Davey as a rookie manager, and we warmed up and sat down a billion times that year. So,
yeah. Part of the job sucks. Relievers, you guys don't have your job description is that everybody thinks that's easy. Only throw 1 inning. No, it's not.
Hey, I've seen you try to throw 1 inning before.
Hey, and I know what you're talking about. But I've done it many times and it's worked.
Oh, so it's easy. Sick.
I didn't say it's easy. I just said I can make it work.
No, every time he tried to bring up the following year, oh, you threw a throw inning. I'm like, Max, I seen you try to throw one inning in the playoffs. It didn't work out so well.
No, the craziest inning from like how many different random things happened that inning to make it blow up. He's talking about the relief inning against the Cubs. I think we had a catcher's interference, a drop third strike, runner still gets the, Javi Baez got the first, hit by pitch. Was there an error? I don't think there was.
I think there was an error or an infield hit. There's something like, if someone would have bet those three or four things happening in one inning, it could have been 1,000,000 to 1.
I think it's more than 1,000,000 to 1. Like, yeah. All with like 2 outs. There was 2 outs, nobody on, and they ended up scoring 4. Could not believe
2 outs, nobody on. Yeah. It was 0-2 count. Infield hit, hard chopper from Contreras. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, as a reliever, it takes how many months to knock that ERA down?
Oh man, it takes. You give up 3 in an inning, you take what? That's a whole month. You got to go scoreless for a month if you give up 3 in an inning, 3 or 4 in an inning.
Dude, I got absolutely gut punched last year on that. We had 2 rain delays, and they put me in the pitch, and I'm slipping all over the mound. Gave up a 4 spot, come out, and I was starting to get my ERA back down. I was at like a low 3. Now I'm finishing at like a 6, 5.5. After that outing, took me months to get back down to like a 4. Brutal.
Well, I forgot. Max was on the Mets. So you guys almost fought each other last year because Steve was throwing that one door.
Yeah, I was looking for him out there. I don't think he wanted any of that smoke. Dude, I was so lost. I was like, dude, I just hit a guy in my debut with the Nationals in the face, their best player. Pete Alonso was trying to put me in the hospital. I'm watching him while their hitting coach is running around the corner with like the devil in his eyes trying to kill me. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to hit your guy in the face. He squared around the bunt. It was like a 0-2 or 0-1 fastball. And but the problem was we hit their guys like 3 times the night before. I was just amped up. And, dude, that was interesting.
2022 with the Mets, dude, we were getting drilled left and right. It was just getting too much. And so here, I know Steve. Work out with him, everything. Nice guy in the world, and he's drilling our guys in the head. Like every guy would want to rip his head off. Like, all right, I'm trying to tell guys like he's not doing it intentionally. I promise you, he's not doing it intentionally. Like,
crossfire from down under.
The ball slips. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, the best part of that was I had like a million text messages. One of them, or a bunch of them, were like, "Dude, Buck Showalter is trying to kill you." I'm like, I don't even remember seeing him out there. Like he was ripping me a new one. I was watching the video, and I was just watching Pete and Taiwan Walker because I played with Ty. I'm like, come on, Ty. I think I'm trying to hit someone in the face. And so I was trying to defend the guys, and it was stupid. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I just drilled their best player in the face. Anyways.
So, Max, one thing we like to talk about, obviously, is the mental game. I think
sure.
There's so many questions that I could have. Because one, you're still going and you're going strong, but you got to be mentally motivated to do that. It's not just physical. So first question is, what keeps you going right now? What is the motivation? You've already won the World Series. You won Cy Youngs. You got 3,000 strikeouts. Like, what's the motivation?
Win another World Series. There's nothing like it. That's the only thing you need. Wake up every day. That's the goal. I still have a chance to be on a great team, compete, and be able to be a championship caliber pitcher. That's all. To sit there and say they have a chance to win the World Series. That's the only thing I need to keep going. That's the biggest draw there is in baseball, is to stand there at the end. And it's an incredible feeling. So once you've done it, then all you want to do is do it again.
So you are rubbing it in my face. He's like, I traded away from the team that won the World Series the following year, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. And there's so many comments around that I could say, but we're not going to say it.
What was it about that team? I mean, you were there for what was it, 6 years at that point, 5 years, and then you guys were down, man. It looked like you were down and out. Quarter way through the season.
Well, yeah. Well, the first part of the season we were hurt. I think Trey was hurt, Soto was hurt, and Rendon was hurt. So our 1, 2, 3 hitters were all hurt. So yeah, we played some crappy baseball in the beginning. But then we got everybody healthy. Howie caught fire. Eaton started to hit well. Then we had some trades. Jan and Kurt behind the plate. We finally got on page with them. Everybody started to sync up. Then we got to the trade deadline. It was no longer. I think they're in probably May. We were sitting there thinking, everybody's going to get traded. And then it came to no, we're actually going to add.
That's awesome.
We're actually going to add. We're going to go for the wild card. We traded for, Daniel Hudson. He was critical to it. Asdrubal Cabrera, we got him. And then, in the beginning of the season, we also got Gerardo Parra. He was crucial to the clubhouse atmosphere, everything he brought in the clubhouse. And then on the field, it was a baby shark. And then all of a sudden, we just clicked. For every reason, it just clicked. And in baseball, like, you just know when it's not even about you. It's not even about your talent. It's not even about talent. It's when the clubhouse just clicks and everybody's just picking each other up. It doesn't even. You're just winning ball games because you're winning as a team. Somebody has a bad night. Somebody else on the team has a better night and covers for that. And that's just what happened. And then we got in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, like, we had so many from behind victories. It was nuts. How many times we were down 2-0, win 3-2. We just functioned as a team and just had the belief as a team, and everything Davey had said, every button he was pushing worked. He starts this guy, he shoves, he brings in the reliever, he gets out of the inning. He plays the lefty in the matchup, he gets the hit. And so, it's just that's how it worked. That's what made it so much fun, and that's why that October in 19, that was the craziest month of baseball I've ever seen.
Incredible.
I remember we played you guys earlier in that year, early in the year. You guys sucked. We destroyed you guys. And then you guys came to us in August, and it was like, when we left, that was a tough series with you guys. And you guys left, I was like, man, that is by far the best team.
They swept us. They beat the brakes off us.
Their lineup was like relentless. Like, they would not strike out. Like, even though I think I had 2 punchies, but it was still relentless. And then the pitching was like, the starting pitching was solid.
Yeah.
And then your bullpen held up. It was like totally different team from when we played earlier in the year.
Yeah. That's why the saying isn't about, it's not about who you play, it's about when you play them.
It's true.
It's true. Yep. That's true.
So another thing I wanted to say, like, dealing with failure, like, you're a guy that you seem to turn the page very quick. Like, I always see that even if it was a good or bad outing, you were like, you'd probably talk about it for 3 hours after the start that night, but then the next day you were on to it, preparing for the next start. At what point, one, how did you learn your routine? And two, where did you realize your mental, let's say, toughness, or learn how to turn the page so quick? And does someone teach you that, or just something you just learned through experience?
Well, I'll kind of start the routine off. It started in college, definitely at Mizzou. When you're pitching in college, you're only pitching once a week, so you can become much more kind of routine, based. And, everything, we were doing at Mizzou, like, I just gravitated towards, and it worked, and I really, developed into my own there. And I basically do a lot of what I still do today is the stuff that I was doing in 2004 and 2005. That routine just works for me. And I would say on the mental side of it, I can't say there's ever one moment where you become more mentally resilient. I think it's just a culmination over time of going through success and failure, but really the failure part and understanding how you get back to the success part. The beautiful thing about baseball is that it's not like you're going to go undefeated. No, at some point in time, you're going to get punched in the face. You're going to give up you're going to have a blow up start. There's going to be an inning. There's going to be blue hits. You're going to make pitches, but they still get hits. That's the reality of baseball. At some point in time, the hitters are going to get you.
Right.
Like, there's, the record for the lowest ERA all time is a 1.1. Like, it's not 0.
It's funny, that.
Oh yeah, Bob Gibson. Because I love Bob Gibson. When you kind of think of from that perspective, that there's always an inherent failure within the game. That really the failure is just an opportunity to learn. when you get beat, it's not the time. I've gotten to the point in my career where I'm not necessarily throwing my glove and taking a bat and beating a trash can. I'm not like I don't lose anymore. When I get beat and I give up a bunch of runs, like, no, it's actually a time to self-reflect. Like, all right, how did I get beat? What's going on? I had a plan coming into the game. Was it a failure of execution? Was I missing my spots? Okay, that's it. That's still a long night.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, I didn't hit my spots. But let's say you are hitting your spots. How did I get beat? Now it's the mental side. Okay, I am locating the baseball the way I want to, but the human side of it, the hitters are now keen on my tendencies. They're able to beat me, or they're beating me through a sequence, or they're beating me. Maybe I'm tipping, or like the whole host of reasons of why you can lose a ball game or why the hitters are having success against you. And so, that's where you're back at the drawing board of, okay, what's the adjustment? All right, if this is how I got beat, what's the adjustment? Because I know if I made that adjustment, I probably win the game.
Right.
If I would have done, if I was doing X, if I do Y, then I win the ball game. So for me, then it becomes a focus on, all right, what's the fix I need to make in my bullpen to be able to get myself to be the best version of myself possible. So I'd say that's the process where I'm at now. I'd say I've been in that process for quite a while. It's just that it's really, I just don't snap anymore when I lose. It's much more reflective of, all right, what can I do to be better?
Does the fear, okay, so you have a bad outing and you've learned to move on real quick. Let's just say you were a younger kid and you kept having some bad outings. Did the fear of failure ever start to creep in? Like we had Jordan Farmar play with the Yankees on here. The Lakers about a month ago. And he talked about they never really had the fear of failure because they were so caught up in the moment of competing. So I think it might be different for baseball. You have downtime and you have time to think about like leading up to your start or whatever. So did the fear of failure ever creep into your head, and how did you ever get over that part?
Yeah, I think that's actually that's a great comment, because when you talk to like the mental skills people, sports psychologists, this and that, I've always said that's the one thing that no one can actually explain of actually how to deal with is the fear of failure. Everybody is going to process it on their own terms. No one has I think everybody has the magic wand to be able to tell you how to be confident, how to think, this and that. But no one can ever tell you how to actually process fear of failure. I think that's something that has to be that's just an innate ability, whether you can process that or not.
Right.
Yeah, when you're on the mound, you're thinking about, there is a fear of failure. I mean, there's times where like you have to be. I'm cognizant of, hey, if I threw this pitch, that's a high risk, high risk, high reward pitch. I'm bringing a home run into play. Why would I be, throwing a pitch where I could potentially be getting beat on? You're constantly weighing risk and failure when I'm out there on the mound. It's just kind of part of you. It's whether is that driving you, or are you so afraid of failure that you're not able to execute? At what point are you able to just look fear in the face and be able to just execute the pitch anyway? There's a feel to it. That's a human experience. I've never heard anybody be able to perfectly describe it. Some people who sit there and say, "Oh, I completely wipe it out of my brain." And I can't. Like, if I'm here, I don't want to lose a ball game. I go in a ball game, I don't want to lose it. I want to win it. There's things I could do that can lose a ball game. It's actually really easy to lose a ball game.
Yeah, very easy.
You don't make a pitch.
Hard to win, very easy to lose.
It's right. It's really hard to win. So there's that paradoxical kind of, you wish winning was easy. No, it's the other way around. Losing's easy, winning's hard. And so how you deal with fear of failure is, how are you going to deal with that? It's really easy to have that fear of failure come back into it. It's really hard to sit there and say, no, I'm going to be better because of it. But there's a balance in there, and you as yourself, I don't think there's any one person that can tell you how to deal with that balance. That's
true. That's why we try to ask everyone, all the successful people, how they dealt with it, because it's so interesting how athletes at the highest level, everyone has a different, there's no one way to go about it. It just seems like everyone has their own way, but in the end, it's like they just faced it. Whether they didn't let it stop them, they just faced it. They attacked it. And if they didn't attack it, you're probably not playing anymore.
Yep.
Right.
It's like a fight or flight. Like, yeah, you have a choice in the moment. Either you're going to fight or you're in trust in your stuff, or you're just going to just give in. And next thing you know, it could be the same velocity as, the one that you chose to have some conviction behind, and maybe the same location, but for whatever reason, it gets walloped because you didn't have that same conviction behind it. So you just gave into your fears that led to your failure.
Yeah, there's two thoughts I have when you're talking about that. Remember a point in time where, when you are having success and failure, this and that, and failure, like, how you process that, and then you start getting to the where you kind of hope, like you start hoping for success. Like you've lost a lot of, you have a losing streak going on. You kind of start hoping, like you just kind of hope for success.
Yeah.
And and when you start hoping, that's when you're beat. You're like check it. You're out. You're on your way out. Like you're gonna get beat because this league is not. You can't hope to have success. There's no room for that. The people that have hope for success, they're on a ticking time bomb before they're out of the big leagues.
They're doing podcasts.
You absolutely have to know that you're gonna go in there and go and know what you're doing. Know what you're going to execute pitches. Absolutely know that you're going to do this. You can't have room for hope. That was one of the things that some mental skills psychologist talked to me about. I remember at one point when I was struggling, I think in 2011, when I was really getting beat around, I remember I said that. I was like, I hope the next one's going to be good. He's like, you absolutely cannot have hope in your game. That is just the worst word to ever have the processing with is hope.
That's good.
That's actually, I like that. I like that a lot.
So if you were talking to like a young kid, I mean, that's pretty advanced. Everything you just went through is awesome. How do you package that and kind of simplify it for when you're competing on the mound?
I think it's just, you take one thing and add it to your game. I don't think you can just take, somebody else's life experience and completely download it, and then all of a sudden you're a new human.
Yep.
Totally. I think, if you talk to a young kid, they have their own experiences, and then if you take on one thing and make that, something, and you can take one thing and get better in one day, then great. Then the next day, then you take on something new. You don't try to chew off that and bite the whole apple, per se. You just take one step at a time. One thing at a time. Don't try to overdo everything. Just try to get. You're just trying to get better every single day.
Yep.
So, have you ever lately? Let's say your odds were getting older. Did you ever get to the point where you started to doubt yourself a little bit, and you had to fight those demons? Let's say early in the year, there weren't the best outings, and at some point you're like, man, I'm like, am I losing it? Or did you just be mental tough? Maybe you weren't feeling right physically. I don't know. But where you're like, I'm just going to get back to I'm just going to go back to work. And then, because I know I feel good and I'm not going to let this beat me. And how did you get over that? The slight struggles that you were having?
Oh yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I get, my back's hurting, but I'm still getting beat. Like the other team doesn't feel sorry that you're hurting a little bit.
No, never.
Like when you're dealing with something, it doesn't matter. Like if you got to compartmentalize if you're, a little ailment, and still go out there and compete to win. Like just because you have an ailment doesn't mean you can't compete at 100%. So,
exactly. Like, God forbid, tell the generation.
In some ways you almost kind of get it becomes like a crutch that, because you're hurt, and it takes so much out of you to be 100%. Like you're mentally, like pitching through a blister. I was pitching through a blister earlier in the year, and that was extremely painful to pitch through. And so, I was actually able to still, have some success and pitch through it. But when I didn't have that blister, it almost became like, well, life's easy now. Now the start should be easy because now I feel great.
Yeah.
And then you don't pitch well because, well, you feel great. I mean, that's kind of here. Like, well, what's going on here? Like, how am I getting beat? And you realize, okay, well, it goes back to you. Like, no, I'm getting beat because, I might not have the same stuff. I can't throw as hard as I used to when I was 29 years old. But there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Exactly.
It's not just about velo here at the big leagues. Like there's a way to adapt and evolve. There's a way to slice and dice. There's a way to locate. I still believe I can find a better version of myself that even with the lack of the top end velo, I can still locate the ball. I can still execute pitches. I can execute a variety of pitches, and that can make me successful. I can still strike guys out. I can still keep you off. I can get off the barrel, and find ways to be able to win a ball game. That hasn't changed, and that won't change until I'm done.
That's awesome.
Well, Syndergaard missed like 2 months with a blister, so that's interesting.
My neck was hurting. I was locked in.
I was so happy you were picking. Oh, he's got a bad neck.
You can't pitch to a neck. The neck is the most miserable thing. But almost anything else, yeah, you can.
Yeah, but he throws underhand, so he needs his neck. His neck is a little stiff, so.
And I got drafted too.
Talking about somebody gets next, dude. Once your neck goes, you can't do a thing.
It's brutal, absolutely brutal. My last outing of my career, my neck has never been so bad, and I took a Toradol. We're in last place just so I can pitch one more game, and it didn't even touch it. And I rehabbed that thing till like the next January, and I was in absolute agony. I'm like, that's it, I'm done. No more neck pain.
Yeah, what the San Diego start that Kinser's talking about. I had taken a Toradol before that game. And I tried to warm up, try to get going, and that I feel like I ripped everything in my neck apart. Like I was so sore the next day. Like I was like, that's the last time I ever take Toradol for a muscle strain.
Probably hurt your neck from doing your amazing workouts with like jerking your head everywhere.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude.
I remember the first time I watched him squat. I'm like, holy crap. He's like, what? I was like, oh man, there's like another level you can go if we just do some things properly. You do not want to hear it. I really just met him.
We got a good fight about that one.
I know, seriously. First day, right out the gate, Kins is trying to coach you.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was early, but no, I actually love that fight. I talk about that fight all the time still, because I appreciate it because everybody, like you get to the ability level, not everybody tells you how to fix yourself, and here he is, Saul fixing me. But like we were getting into it. Like we were starting to yell at each other, and I loved it. Like he's got his points, I had my points. But the way I tell that story is that by the end of it, I think we actually learned. No, I actually think we're both right. I think there's things that Salt does that, like the way he pitches, that's what works for him, and the way I pitch, that's what works for me. And that there's actually two different ways to go about this, and it depends on which type of pitcher you are.
Yeah.
There's different types of training methods that help each side be better, and really start chasing different things because of that. It made me. It actually made me think of the different. Because once we kind of came to the epiphany that we're both right, kind of changed how I should look at some of my training methods and like trying to chase more of what I do.
Yeah, I think I even used some of your methods in 19, even for pitching, because I always argue, because you're always talking about toe, you got to get to the toe. And I'm like, no, it's all about heel. And then like 19, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go a little bit more towards my toe. And they had like my best year ever. I'm like, shit, man, that guy was kind of right.
Yep. And then there's times I've been training where like, hey, I need a little bit more glute and a little bit more heel stuff. So like, I still think about that all the time. I loved it.
See, maybe I should be a coach.
There you go. Just maybe work on your candor a little bit sometimes.
No,
everyone can handle that.
See, you can yell at me. You can see, he had a lot of 4-letter words mixed in there as well.
Well, the
I just
younger
don't think
generation.
You can talk to the next generation like that. I think
exactly. Yeah,
hey,
the next generation.
This
guy told me, I came in. I think it was extra innings against the Cardinals. I'll try to wrap this up too, and I gave it up. It was like a no-win situation, basically. No outs, runner on second and third, lefty. I think the Carpenter was up. He had a bloop down the line, gave it up. Just how it happened, it was just looked brutal. And after the game, he's like, the old Cishek would have got out of that. Right after the game. Like, they didn't even wait. And I wasn't even mad. I'm like, okay. That's the standard you're talking about. Like, he holds everyone to high standard. I like it. So, yeah.
Well, I seen you get out of the biggest jams in the world. I mean, you just gave in. I mean... Oh, I don't know if you ever heard about it, Max, but when we were playing catch in Colorado, and, the ball, if you throw sinkers, they cut a little bit in Colorado. So I was practicing sinkers. Steve was my throwing partner. This ball cuts, takes his knee out, like kneecap. But you would have thought this guy's leg broke in half, like on the ground, crowd's booing me. He gets carted off the field in the middle of catch. I thought you
shattered my knee.
I thought I broke the guy's leg. I go in the training room. I felt so bad. Like, I'm going to get the 8th inning now. This is going to be great. It worked.
Next to me like I'm delivering a baby.
2 days later, 2 days later, this guy's pitching. How do you get carted off the field and you're pitching 2 days later? Like, come on, man. You at least go on the IL.
Good training staff. I'm not going on the IL.
You're carted off the field.
I thought I was going to puke, dude. I was in agony. Hit me right in the joint. It's still messed up today. Anyways,
Max.
That's true. That was soft.
Max, we appreciate your time. We know we try to get you for like 10 months to do this, but.
No, I appreciate finally found a good time to be able to get on. Got a nice little day here in San Francisco, so good to jump on.
Stay healthy, man. Yeah, man. I'm going to root for you. If I'm in Dallas, I've playoff tickets. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Those things are hard, though. I can't. No promises. I'll try.
Later, bro. Thank you.
See you later.